Hi guys! In this video I want to introduce the Dronetimer app for Android smartphones. The Dronetimer app helps you to time multiple racing drones during a race by just using your smartphone, some piece of color paper, and of course your drones. In the video I want to walk you through three main steps. First of all, how does the Dronetimer actually work? Secondly, how do you use the app? And of course, finally, some example footage of the Dronetimer in real operation. But before we go into the details, here's a sneak peek of what it looks like using the Dronetimer.
Peter, 5 minutes, 51.2 seconds. Peter, 0 minutes, 8.9 seconds. Alex, 0 minutes, 55. Peter, 0 minutes, 9.6 seconds.
Now, let's get into a short introduction of how the Dronetimer works. First of all, how does the Dronetimer actually detect the drone? The detection is done based on the camera of the smartphone. You can see here our little drones, the field of view of the camera marked in the darker blue area, and our smartphone. In this scenario, the smartphone is lying on the ground and looking towards the sky or ceiling. Now, when the drone enters the field of view, the Dronetimer detects the drone based on its color. In this scenario, the drone is colored red, so it would start timing for the red drone. It also records the time when this drone is leaving the field of view of the camera. Now, why is that done? This is actually done to calculate the time that the drone takes to pass through the field of view. And this step is required to increase the robustness of the timing and also to make the timing independent of the height that the drone is flying at. Finally, in the last step, it's fairly simple. You can just calculate the lap times based on the old time and the new time, and there you are, you have your lap time. So actually no magic happening here. Here is some information about how the actual drone detection is done using the camera. You can see the detection of the different drones is based on different colors. If your drone is not yet colored in a certain color, which is pretty seldom for carbon frames, they're all pretty black, you can add some colored paper. Personally, for example, I use the Post-it shown in this picture with different colors. They work very well, especially during not so good lighting conditions, for example like in winter, which we had a lot in the last days. Depending on where you put your phone, you should place the paper on your drone. So in this example, you can see my little eSheen drone with a paper mounted at the top and also paper mounted at the bottom. So I can basically put my phone wherever I want, either at the top looking down at the drone or just putting the phone at the floor and looking up at the drone. You always have to remember the Dronetimer can only time what it can see. Here's some tips on how to improve the detection of the drone. On the left side you can see the drone passing below the camera. In this case it's very helpful to have a uniform background, e.g. white paper or also maybe a uniform floor to really improve the detectability of the drone. On the right side you can see how a typical image of the drone looks for the Dronetimer. You can see that at the top this is a very good picture, a good preview with little or hardly any noise, and at the bottom you see a picture where there's a lot of noise in the image, for example due to bad calibration of the color, bad background, or also bad lighting conditions. In this case you would have to tweak a little bit, either choose different colors, choose different lighting, or maybe also just reposition your phone. So it might be needed that you do a little bit of optimization for your specific setup to really get the best out of the perception performance. Finally, I want to take a quick look at some of the pros and cons of the Dronetimer. As you might already have learned from the previous introduction, the Dronetimer can of course only time what it sees. So the drone always has to pass the field of view of your smartphone camera, otherwise it won't work. You have to protect your phone against any potential impact, which I, for example, do by just putting some pieces of carton around my phone so it's protected from any kind of impact when I might crash into the phone with my drone. The performance of the drone timer depends on the lighting conditions that you have at your specific place and also at the colors that you chose, so there might be some optimization needed. On the pro side, with the drone timer, you have a simple way to time your drone. You hardly need any extra. You just need your smartphone, which you probably already have, and maybe some pieces of colored paper. You can time multiple drones. Currently, the drone timer supports up to 3 drones during a race, so you can easily race together with your friends, for example. The drone timer also supports individualization, which means that you can, for example, set names for the pilots of the individual drones. And of course, after a race, you can store the lap times of each individual pilot and of the overall race. In the next part of the video, I want to give you a short hands-on tutorial of how to use the Dronetimer app for your purposes. Therefore, I will be showing you the usage of the app on my elderly Samsung Galaxy Note 1 mobile phone running Android 4.1. After launching the Dronetimer app, you will be brought to the main screen of the app shown here. On the main screen, you have actually all of the components that you need during racing. On the left side here, you can see the 3 pilots being listed. In my case, this is a good friend of mine, Alex, myself, Peter, and we didn't use the 3rd pilot for the last race, so this is still the default name with being blue. There are currently no lap times available because there was no racing so far since we started up the drone timer. On the bottom, you can see the activation buttons for the individual colors, so you can activate or deactivate the individual drones as you like, and also the calibrate buttons to set the color for the individual pilots. When you press the button, the color is stored and used as a next for this pilot. The current color of the button itself tells you which color has been calibrated. On the right side, you see what the camera is currently seeing. I'm currently using the front-facing camera at the left of my mobile phone, so the camera is actually looking into my Logitech cam, which I'm using to record this video. You can zoom the cam so the image will become big and you can do the modifications there. You can switch the camera so it will switch from the front-facing camera to the rear camera, and you can select which image you want to see after the processing that Dronetimer does, so HSV, red, green, blue, and RGB. You will later on also see what this noise slider can do and how it can help you to improve the performance of the Dronetimer in your specific application. Before I will guide you through the steps to actually start the Dronetimer. The big button is still off, as you can see. I want to show you the settings that you can do apart from the main screen. If you open the settings at the top right corner of the mobile phone, you can see there is a short about or how-to section with a little bit of a manual. You have the main settings. You can set the folder for the lap times, you can save the lap times, and you can access the list of best lap times. Please keep in mind that this whole app is still in a very early alpha phase, so it might be that individual options will change over time. If you open up the main settings, you see there are 3 categories. There's the privacy policy, there are timing notifications that you can set, and the pilot names and track specifics. I want to show you the first category, so pilot names and track specifics. Here you can set the names of the individual pilots. As you can see, currently it's Alex, Peter, and we didn't give a name to the blue drone. You could name that whatever you like. At the bottom of the settings screen, you have the option to delete the lap times for each of the individual drones. You can set a minimal lap time, which basically prohibits the Dronetimer app to do multiple detections short one after the other when the drone, for example, crashes inside a gate or inside the field of view of the Dronetimer and it's not detected very well. I highly recommend to leave this minimal lap time at least 4 or 5 seconds. You can also reset all calibrated colors to the default values. This is just a feature which you can use if you messed up your calibration completely. Now moving back to the main screen, in the timing notifications section you can set how the phone shall notify you whenever you finish a lap. So you have a speech output that can be enabled, you have a sound output which is just general beeping and stuff like that, and you can also enable or disable vibration whenever a drone passes. If you have set these specific settings, then you're actually ready to go and you can calibrate the colors for the drones which will be participating in the race. I want to show you that with two example colors, like this little green yellowish post-it, which I will use for one of the drones, and this reddish post-it that I will use for the other drone. You can do the calibration and the whole setup on the main screen if you like, and this is especially useful for advanced users who know what to do, but it's also much easier if you zoom into the camera, because then you can the buttons are bigger, etc. If you zoom into the camera, you at first see the RGB image, so it's just the regular image of the front-facing camera. On the left side you have got the calibration buttons for the individual pilots, and you also have the slider to select the output of the individual image processing algorithms that the Dronetimer includes. You also have the noise slider here on the left. Now, if we, for example, move the slider to blue, you can see blue is kind of a bad calibration because you can see a lot of noise in the image and there's obviously no blue drone here, so this color for the setup that we currently have is probably not that suitable. Still, I want to show you the impact of the noise slider at this example. If you increase the noise slider, you can see that the noise is more and more going away. Still, the noise has been so big in this image that there are still a couple of white pixels remaining in the image. Nevertheless, you can use that slider to increase the robustness of the Dronetimer. If you increase the noise slider, then also the piece of paper or the size of the drone has to become bigger, because this also negatively impacts the proper detection of true positives. So you can see if I'm moving the noise slider down, the noise is coming back into the image. Now let's switch to red. So red seems to be calibrated pretty well. At least we have basically no noise at all, no white pixels at all in the image, and you can see now when I'm moving the reddish paper inside the field of view of the camera, you can clearly see how the red post-it is detected. So in this scenario, when the drone would be passing, you could easily detect the drone. Let's switch to green, because I want to show you how to calibrate green in that scenario. For green, we have also a good calibration in terms of no false positives. Everything is pretty black, so no wrong detection of the drone. But in this scenario, you can see I can move the post-it across the field of view of the camera and there's hardly any detection, just a little bit of noise down here in the lower area of the image. What you can do now is, for myself, I always do it in RGB mode, because then it's just much easier. In RGB mode, you take your post-it and you hold it inside the view of the camera, or you point the camera at the post-it, and you make sure that the camera, or inside this red rectangle, the post-it is captured. And if the post-it is inside this area, you just press the calibrate button. So I will be doing that now. I get the post-it inside the field of view, press the calibrate button, and you can also see that the color of the calibrate button changed to the color of the post-it. So in this scenario, I now did the calibration for green. If you now switch to green, you can see that we still have a very noise-free image, but now if I move the green post-it through the field of vision of the camera, you get a very clear and robust detection of this color. One more little trick that I want to show you is, for example, if we go to the blue tab once again, you can see that we have the noise, especially at the edges of the image. And I don't want to push the noise slider too far up, because I don't want to lose kind of the detection quality for the cases where there is really a drone in the image. Then I can also just swipe my finger over this area and set the area that is used by the drone timer to detect the drone. So in this scenario, any noise being in that area around here doesn't hurt the drone timer detections, because it just excludes this area. If you want to reset that to default, of course, you can just swipe your fingers to the sides of the image and you're back to full screen mode. After you have finished the calibration of the colors for the individual drones, you can start your lap timing. For now, we will use just the red and the green drone, because these are the two drones that we just set up in the calibration screen. On the fronts, or on the main screen, you can slide to the individual images. So for example, for red or for green, you will then see what the drone timer sees for that color. As green is still marked as being off, you see green is off in the image and the camera is showing a HSV image and not the processed green image. If you activate the drones, I will activate green and also red, because these are the two drones that we will be using in that demo. You can see the whole screen switches to this white and black image that you know from the calibration process. I will now simulate the drones flying by with the two post-its so that you can see how the app behaves. To start that, or to do that, I first have to activate the drone timer. Now the whole timing system is active. The first drone will be the yellow drone, so I had the yellow post-it flying across the field of view of the camera. After that, for example, we also have the red one. As you can see, when they pass for the first time, there is no timing done, because it's not yet possible to calculate the difference between any two times. And if they pass for the second time, for example,
23.7 seconds.
In this scenario, the green drone passed for the second time, I immediately get the timing for this drone.
0 min, 24.1 seconds.
Same thing for the red drone. Whenever it passes, the lap times are taken. Now, to show you a little bit more,
Alex, 0 min, 11.9 seconds.
you can see whenever, for example now in this scenario, the red drone passes, a new lap time is added
Alex,
in the
0
list
min, 10.5 seconds.
for this person. After having a couple of lap times, you can scroll through the lap times here. So it's pretty small, but it's easy to look at the last lap times very quickly. And of course, you can also save these lap times and access the list of best lap times. So let's assume our race is finished now. We have these 3 or 4 lap times. We deactivate the drone timer and you can access the list of best laps through the menu. Here you can see that Alex has clearly won the race. Alex has a lap time of 10.5 seconds and 11.9 seconds. My best lap time was 23.7 seconds, and okay, Alex also has one with 24.1 seconds. Of course, I can save this list of best lap times. It just saves this list with the current date and time in the folder that you specified. And therewith you're actually good to go. Whenever you like to do so, you can reactivate the timing system. Just keep in mind that in this scenario you will always have to have 2 passes for the first lap time to be taken. So in this scenario I will get the first lap time
4.5 seconds.
now whenever the second pass is detected. To conclude the video, here are some more examples of the Dronetimer in action and a very quick look at the gate made out of carton that I used for the indoor videos and which protected my mobile phone very well.
Peter, 2 minutes, 41.1 seconds. Peter, 0 minutes, 12.9 seconds. Peter, 0 minutes, 10.0 seconds. Peter, 0 minutes, 9.9 seconds. Peter, 0 minutes, 9.7 seconds. Peter, 0 minutes, 9.5 seconds. Peter, 0 minutes, 8.5 seconds.
If you liked the video or have further ideas on how to improve the Dronetimer, please just leave a comment below. Also, check out the video description for further information on the production state of the Dronetimer app and how you can download it. Thank you very much for watching and happy flying!